A question I get asked a lot is whether men and women who've got a diagnosis of autism present differently. And actually, there isn't a person with autism who presents the same as another person with autism. So, although everyone with the diagnosis has difficulties in reciprocal social interaction and communication, and they might have restricted and stereotyped interests, even though everyone has those core features, they all manifest in different ways, which is why you might have a university professor with an IQ of 140 with a diagnosis of autism, because the way they communicate is very verbose and one-sided. They might have long monologues about their interest. They might struggle to pick up on social cues, but actually, they might have a restricted interest in, science or maths, for example, and so it still meets the criteria of autism. But then you might have someone who has a lot of difficulties in functioning. So, for example, they might not speak at all or have very limited communication or only use sign language. They might have no eye contact and struggle to interact with people on any kind of meaningful level, and have a very restricted pattern of interest. And they would also meet the diagnosis of autism. So it is really diverse. So there isn't a man or a woman who's going to present in the same way. However, it is reasonable to say that we have changed in our understanding of how autism might present. And sort of historically, we've thought there was many more men than women who would be diagnosed with autism, but that gap is narrowing somewhat, and it's likely due to the fact that women can present in less stereotypical ways. So, for example, when we think about stereotypical interests in autism, we often think about, collecting vinyl or cars or train spotting. Women might be more interested in celebrities or music bands, may collect, magazines, and those kind of interests are slightly more mainstream, so they might not be seen as kind of stereotypical and restricted in the same way as sort of more typical male interests. Equally, women can often make more efforts with social interaction, maybe be a bit more aware of interactions between others and try and copy that. And so the deficits they have in social interaction can be not quite as obvious in females who are trying really hard to what we call mask or camouflage within society. So as I say, there isn't anybody who presents in the same way, but it is fair to say that probably more women than men will present in a less atypical way. So the impairments they have in social communication and interaction and in their interests might not be as obvious, which is why we do see probably more women presenting in adulthood.